in a few days. So I just figured I might as well just do one and do some more news and either NBA All Star Weekend 2 box office results and talk about some things that I wanted to discuss really with the music scene, some upcoming albums, and of course, more J. Cole news information as well. So before then, let's get to started with the NBA. So the All Star Weekend, of course, happened. The USA Stars end up winning over Team World by 2 points. The story pretty much from them for Team World was Victor Wembanyama. He was pretty much the story to highlight. Uh, he is amongst like star players for the in the NBA right now that's gonna be in the category and the conversation for MVP. You know, he's been dominant all this whole entire year, and he had a really good game. But for the Stars, the story pretty much was Anthony Edwards. Of course, he was just on point, and he would go on later on to, and we'll get to it later on. Him end up going on to win the All Star MVP for one of his only for a time, and it's the Kobe Bryant All Star MVP based upon his name. So, you know, he ended up winning that. He had 13 points, and he was 5 for 9 from the field. He pretty much held it down for the team USA Stars, and his shot ability, his shot making, his shot creating was on point. He really did his job on that one. I really got to give him credit for that. And also on there was Kay Cunningham, Booker, and Jalen Duren and Tyrese Maxey, Jalen Johnson. So a lot of the younger star guys, you know, put it together, and they really was and like I said, Ant-Man was just pretty much on point. His shot making, his ability to get to the paint, his ability at will to get to the basket is just unmatched and unheard of at this point. So definitely a shout out to him. Big game for him, and he really did his thing. Now the Team Stripes, however, they played their first game against Team USA Stars, and they end up winning by only 2 points. Man and Cunningham came through surprisingly again in that one, but this time on the other side it was Jaylen Brown. Kawhi Leonard had a decent game, and LeBron had a decent game. So you don't know the format of if you don't know the format, so both the Team USA Stripes and Stars, the USA Stripes were the second and third reserve players of ones who initially would have been in the lineup for the Eastern Conference versus the Western Conference. So all of the Western Conference players who were like setting up reserves are all on the Team USA Stripes. So they were the older guys. So they were pretty much the older star players that already had their time. So they pretty much had that. So this is more of the younger generation versus the older generation. So that's why they have it in that way, in that format. So if anybody didn't know, that's what it was. So like I said, getting back to Jaylen Brown, who's been having a dynamic season. Shout out to him. He's been carrying the Celtics, especially without his tag partner with Jason Tatum because of the ruptured Achilles. For the ruptured Achilles injury, Jalen Brunson didn't really do much, and like I said, Kawhi, LeBron, you know, they were kind of like going through the motions in this game, but it wasn't really a whole lot of offense going around. It was just a little more like a back and forth game. So shout out to both. So shout out to Jaylen Brown. He really did his thing in this one. Really was impressed with him. And everybody else, you know, like I said, it was just contributing the best that they can and slowing down Jalen Duren, Devin Booker, and the rest of them. So the defense was on point. At one point, Ant-Man led the comeback, but it wasn't enough. The Stars came in there and got the win. Then it was Stripes versus Team World, and Team Stripes won again. And this time, for Team Stripes, it was Kawhi Leonard's night. He had 31 points, 11 of 13 from the field. He was 6 of 7 from the three-point line, +3 on the plus-minus ratio. LeBron only had, of course, he had 2 points. Kevin Durant only had 7. He was 3 of 7 from the field. Didn't really do as much in the game. But the one thing that I will say for Kawhi, I mean, this is one of the only few times where he's literally played more than 40-something games in a season. And, you know, he actually was on point. When he is healthy, when he is out there on the court, he's one of the baddest men on the planet. and it's hard to really contain him. It's hard to really stop him. It's hard to really contain him. You have to send a double team. You have to send a double team. You got to get a, or even sometimes maybe even get a third man to try to get the ball out of his hands, because one on one he's pretty much gonna kill you. One on one he's just pretty much gonna hurt you out there on that floor, man. It's gonna be hard to defend him, and hard to defend him in that space, and especially in the inside and outside of the perimeter. It's gonna be hard to defend him. So I definitely would it was cause to pause and caution for the game, and to me, nobody could really have an answer for him on Team World. Not even the guys that they forced to be to get on them. Like I said, with Cat, you couldn't stop him. He couldn't stop him. Or on the other side, let me see. On the other side, you didn't have Jamal Murray or Pascal Siakam. None of those guys couldn't slow down a Kawhi Leonard like that. Even the guys that used to play for him, like Norman Powell as well. None of them guys couldn't slow him down at all. He was just on point in that one. So shout out to Kawhi Leonard for putting together on a show, and really putting the force and putting the back end to what was already been done for a really good career. And then last game and not least, of course, Team USA Stars. They finally end up overcoming and beating the Stripes. And they pretty much was dominant. The Team Stripes was pretty much slowing down in pace. They really didn't do much in this last third and final game. And pretty much the story in this one, Anthony Edwards once again. Everybody else was not even really in double figures, but from what was the cause, everybody had their own way of like contributing. Tyrese Maxey only had one 3-pointer made, but he was, like I said, dominant. He was slicing and dicing everybody on the floor. Anthony Edwards, like I said, contributed in the rebounding category. He was putting it together. Devin Booker and Jalen Johnson, they got a little bit of scoring load in the second half. But like I said, the team Stripes was just super tired. They were dragging along, slowing along, because everybody else didn't contribute to pretty much anything in the game. Kawhi Leonard didn't have the kind of game in the third one that he did before, so everybody else is pretty much on the coast in motion. So that's pretty much that's pretty much nothing really to contribute. Like Anthony Edwards won the MVP an All-Star game, and this is his fourth time he's even in this, gotten to the conversation and end up winning it. So again, salute to him. And yeah, this is not as entertaining as the last couple of games on NBC, but I really did appreciate what they tried to do. It was something a little bit different, because like I said, with the whole format, it was like more of the younger generation in the Team USA Stars, and in the Stripes, it was more of the older generation. So they had everybody on one similar accord. So I understand the format. I just didn't think it was the right time to make sense to put them all in there, especially the ones that hadn't played as many games. They shouldn't have been allowed to make it, but that's just my opinion. But oh hey, NFL lover, hey, what's going on? But yeah, that's just my thoughts about that. So tell me what you guys think in the comment section, about the All-Star Game format. Nothing to really be shabby upon, but let's talk about the standings real quick. A lot of people was predicting a lot of people was predicting who will be coming out of the Eastern Conference. We already 55, 56 games to the season, and we're pretty much in the midway point of February. I've been watching a lot of older highlights of the season's games. I'll just say this: it's gonna be a lot tougher to call who's gonna come out of the Eastern Conference, but I know for dang sure it's not gonna be the New York Knicks. The Knicks have always been having problems for years getting out of the first round, making it out of the first round. And once they got into the finals the last couple of years, we got to the Eastern Conference Finals the first time in quite some time, and they've had trouble getting out of the semifinals the second round, because either with this crew you have the guys, two of the guys that play the same way, pace and flow and outcome of the game, with Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, and then you got Cat, who's inconsistent, where he gives you 25 points and 14 rebounds, but on the other end he gives up over 35 points, so he can't really guard a stick on the other side of the defense, on the defensive side of the ball. And then Jalen Brunson, because he's so selfish with it at times, he likes to take at least 20 to 24 attempts a game. So that's going to be their problem. Is the defense is not going to be there, but their offense is going to be on point. The Cavaliers, although they got James Harden and trade for Darius Garland, We don't know how the outcome is going to be for them because you got Harden and Donovan Mitchell, two guys who like to hold the ball and they're selfish at the guard position. And then defensively, they're gonna be fine. But again, with that offensive play, it's gonna be the ball is gonna be really in one eyes and one ears. It's gonna be very stagnant, very very stagnant, and that's what really is gonna make it it's gonna make it difficult and make it hard for them to really even put it together. So that's my thing. That's my big problem with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Is like the ball's gonna be pretty much static. It's gonna be staying. It's gonna be stick. And at the end of the day, I don't know what could be taking place in that sense. So I just don't trust them. And as far as the Toronto Raptors, I think they're a little bit too young right now. They're like a little bit too young. They're raw and pretty much kind of unfiltered. So I don't know if they're gonna have a shot of coming out of the East or even making it past the first round because they got to play the Cavs in the in the first round. So it's gonna be hard for them to really make a shift in opportunity. So the only two to possibly even three teams that may have a shot of going far in the playoffs is possibly the Celtics, the Sixers, and the Pistons. And my choice right now, to me, if I had to put money on it or if I had to bet on it right now, it possibly should be the Boston Celtics because they've been the most surprising team, especially without Jason Tatum. And it could be the Pistons because they have the biggest upside. They have the biggest upside, the brightest upside to me. And then the Philadelphia 76ers because they've been probably the biggest wild card in this opposing conference. But we'll see how things shake up once we get to the playoffs and once things end up shaping up and shaping out, how things will go. But that's just my thing right now. But who do I think is gonna win? Who I think is possibly gonna win MVP? It's either gonna come down to these two people. It's either gonna come down to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, or Luka Doncic. That's just my opinion. Who's gonna win Rookie of the Year? It's gonna be It's gonna be between Colin Kaepernick and Cooper Flag, and I'm probably going for Cooper Flag on that one. I don't know about the most improved player. I gotta look at the rankings, but those are just what I'm seeing right now for the MVP and Rookie of the Year. So we'll see how things go with that. And those are my thoughts about the East. I just think it's between the Pistons, Celtics, and 76ers. Everybody else is pretty much on the outside looking in that side. But let's look at the Western Conference. You got the Thunder at number one still, 3 games above the Spurs, above the Nuggets, 6.5 games above the Nuggets, who are at 3, Rockets at 4, the Lakers at 5, Timberwolves at 6, Suns at 7, and the Warriors at 8. But I can already tell you, none of the bottom 5 teams are going to make it past the first round. I don't see it. I think the Spurs and Nuggets will probably cancel each other out. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. I think the Nuggets will end up beating the Timberwolves in like 6, 7 games if the playoffs are ended today. I see right now. I don't know about the Lakers because I don't know if they're gonna make any moves during the trade deadline. So for right now, as the roster constructed now, I still might have the Rockets slightly favored over them because of the younger pieces with Jabari Smith and Amen Thompson out for Şengün, and of course Kevin Durant, the veteran presence. I still have them a little bit ahead over the Lakers because they're young, they're feisty, they're energy. The Lakers don't have no inside perimeter defense, so I still got the Rockets over them, slightly over them. The Spurs will easily whoop the Suns, and the Thunder will easily whoop the Warriors. So that's pretty much obvious. So the best team to me that's gonna come out is still probably, to me, OKC. As long as they got the number one seed, I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be coming out of the Western Conference. As long as they still have the number one seed. I mean, they can go on the road and get it done, but it's gonna be hard because you got this. Like I said, with the Spurs, they match up pretty well over them, and they made the biggest and brightest upside. But to me, as long as the Thunder still have the number one seed, I still think they're gonna be favored to come out of the Western Conference and possibly repeat. Um, that's just how I see it. All right, switching topics real quick because I wanted to try to get to some movie news. So, of course, I'll talk about Wuthering Heights. I have not seen the movie, but I'm just gonna talk about the box office real quick because it dominates the global box office with 82 million, while the animated movie titled Goat secures $47.6 million worldwide. And those you don't know, that's Jacob Elordi and Margot Robbie, and this is an Emerald Fennell film. If you don't know who she did, she's directed films like Promising Young Woman and Saltburn. But this was the Wuthering Heights. Her latest film was number one at the global box office with 82 million and ranking as the top worldwide debut of the year. Those ticket sales include a better than expected $42 million from 76 territories, as well as $40 million over a 4-day domestic debut, and it tallied closer to $35 million through President Day's holiday on Monday, and Warner Brothers is banking $80 million in production. Emerald Fennell and star Margot Robbie, Jacob Elordi in a bold and steamy remake of Emily Bronte's classic novel, which follows a toxic relationship between star crossovers Catherine Earnshaw and Heathcliff in the 18th century in England. And since the reviews have been mixed and domestic ticket sales were slightly softer than expected, Wuthering Heights must rely on international audiences offset its budget. And the top overseas markets in the United Kingdom with $10.3 million, Italy with 4.4, and Australia with $4.3 million. And Warner Brothers didn't report any grosses from any Asian territories, as though the film is yet to open in two key markets, China and Japan. And of course, Goat, that said $47.6 million. That's the animated movie, and included $50.6 million from 42 international markets. The kid-friendly film about a aspiring rollerball champion. Its basketball is different and is yet to open 40% overseas in its territories, including China, Australia, and South Korea. Then follow up is Crime 101 with Chris Hemsworth and Mark Ruffalo. I've already done a review on my channel about that, so if you have not seen it, go check it out. It was okay. I wasn't really the biggest fan of the movie. There was some story beats and storytelling and some subplots I wasn't the biggest fan of. It felt a bit predictable and heavy-handed. But other than that, it was okay. It was cool. I would say it's a decent watch, but I wouldn't expect too much more from that one. But anyways, that follows up, and it cost $90 million to produce. It landed at number 3 spot with $12 million from 60 markets. And the domestic box office with $15 million over the traditional weekend, estimated $17.7 million through Monday, and globally tallied with $29.7 million in over 4 days. And it tops the UK with $2 million, Australia with $1.4 million, and Saudi Arabia with $790,000. But yeah, getting back to what I was saying before about Wuthering Heights, I probably will check it out at some point. Maybe give a review on it. Maybe, just for the sake of doing it for the channel. I'm not familiar with Emily Bronte's actual book of the same name or novel, so if anybody who is familiar with the movie or familiar with any of that, and tell me what your thoughts about the kid-friendly film Go, and also Crime 101 if you have seen it or not. So if you have seen it, tell me what you guys think about it if you have down in the comment section below. But I will be checking out Wuthering Heights possibly over the weekend. Who knows? I probably will, do it for the sake of the channel, and probably will do, a book and probably read it of the same name. Who knows? But I'll probably get to it at some point. But I just wanted to give you guys the box office results. It's hitting global. It's hitting global international markets at the box office, but I'm hearing so many mixed reviews because some people didn't like some people don't really like Margot Robbie's character as Catherine, and they don't really like Jacob Elordi's character as Heathcliff, because they're both toxic, inhumane people who done a lot of terrible things and are terrible human beings to others around them. So people been kind of like really not been actually been founded upon their two characters. So we'll see. I'll see the film when it comes comes out on streaming, I'll probably check it out on there, but and talk about it with along with the other few others and everything. So that's just what I got going on, and to tell you guys about that when it comes out. So all right, and the last story I want to talk about is, of course, J. Cole. Seventh number as receives his seventh number one album on the Billboard 200 with the Fall Off. He claims his number one album the set launches with 280,000 equivalent album units, carried in the United States for February, a week ended in February the 12th. And marks the largest week for any hip hop, R&B, hip hop album in nearly a year since Playboy Carti's music opened with 298,000 from March 29th of 2025. He secures his number one album on the Billboard 200 from the off season and back in 21, and of course following up with KOD and For Your Eyes Only, Forest Hills Drive, More Center, and of course his 2011 debut with Sideline Story. So that just goes to show you that a lot of times when people of course it tracks 166,500 SCA units and 169.5 million on demand official streams and set tracks, and 113,000 official pure album sales. But this goes to show you that parts of the big three with Kendrick and Drake and Cole have pretty much, no matter what the algorithms and the changes of the numbers, is not affecting them in any kind of way, shape, or form. Like, they still can sell in this in this pretty much streaming era of music and downloading of projects. They can still, not only they can sell physical sales and physical copies, they can still sell digitally as well, and really put together possibly some of their best work together, some of their best work ever. And it still shows that they have a run, no matter what people have been saying about, oh, they don't like the fact that Cole, isn't making a full-fledged concept record, or if this is that he didn't really go into depth, or his production choice, he shouldn't be producing his own records. He needs to have other people really challenging for his own production. I even had certain levels of that criticism a little bit. I can understand that part, but at the same time, people always wanted Cole to do the music that they want him to make and they want him to do. Same thing with Kendrick. People say, "Oh, Kendrick is too artistic. He's too artsy. Why does he make the kind of music he makes?" Or same thing with Drake. But the thing is, all three of these guys have achieved music at a high rate, at a high level, where a lot of these other artists that you like to push and prop up, from the Young Thugs, the Futures, the Lil Uzi Vert, and Lil Yachty, none of them can do the numbers that all three of these guys have done for the span of 2 decades. So that's my thing. You gotta give them the credit that they deserve and the credit that they've done over the years, and put together work that is like that's just impeccable, and it's gonna stand the test of time when it comes out. So those are my things, and those are my thoughts about it. And also let me know what you think about how Cole secures his 7 number one album on the Billboard 200, and let me know what you think about that down in the comment section, and also the other albums, from Joji and the Tees, and also Bad Bunny's halftime show. 'Cause I didn't talk about that. I'll maybe talk about that another time. Who knows? But anyway, those are my latest news stories and everything about that. So tell me what you guys think down in the comment section below. And I want to thank y'all for watching, tuning in. All right, I'm out.